In this video, I'll be sharing with you a requested tutorial from my group on how to cut this gathered halter neck dress with a flay effect at the lower part of this dress. So if this is something you like, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button. So here is my pattern. First, we are going to work on the upper part of this dress, which is the shoulder to bust, shoulder to under bust, and shoulder to waist. Now this pattern has like a band at the lower part. You also have to indicate that. But first, I'll mark my neckline of 3 inches and mark my shoulder divided by 2 and come down by 1 inch. So from this point, I'll go ahead and connect from that neckline to the 1 inch I came down from at my shoulder. I'm going to find my chest line, which is my bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. I'll draw out a straight line at that part, mark back what I have on the shoulder here, and I'll place my ruler to connect. So after I'm done marking, I'm going to divide what I have here into 2 by folding my tape and mark the midpoint. I'll also come out by ½ inch at that point. I'll go ahead and mark my bust circumference divided by 4 at this point, and I'll go ahead to connect to the ½ inch at the armhole and to the upper part. After I'm done marking this, I'll go ahead to mark my measurement. I'll mark my bust circumference divided by 4 and add my sewing allowance. And after marking that, I'll go down to my waistline. The under bust is not necessarily included in this dress. Now at the waist, I'll mark my waist circumference divided by 4 and add my sewing allowance. Now there's a band at the waist. You want to come up by 2.5 or 3 inches for this band because the band is a bit wide. Now I'll go ahead and connect it back. Now connect it. So at this part, I'll come out a little because if you notice on the dress, there's a little pleat at this part of your dress, at the part close to the band. Now I'll go ahead to draw this out, and after I'm done marking it out, we'll now work on the upper part where we'll be altering the neckline to get the halter neck and also the gathered effect at the neckline of this dress. Here I'll mark 3 inches and come down by 3 inches, but looking at it is an halter neck dress, so I use 2.5 inches and I'll go ahead to connect. After I'm done connecting, I'll come down by 1 inch here and I'll go ahead to connect it to the armhole area. Now this is how the neckline was gotten. And after you're done marking this, remember you're going to cut the collar that will be round, that will go around the neckline. So for the width of the collar, you can use about 2 inches to 3 inches, and for the length of the collar, you can go ahead to use what is okay for you, right? Because you can make a bow at one side, because looking at the thumbnail, you notice that a bow was tied at one side of the neckline. So to make the neckline a gathered neckline, what you do is you're going to slash and spread this part of the neckline, right? And you're going to cut it out. Now I'm going to go ahead to cut out this part of the neckline this way. Now you're going to take this pattern and place on your fabric, and when you place it on your fabric, you're going to open up this part of your pattern, right? You're going to spread it, use your pin to hold it. Now what you do is you're going to go ahead to trace out the neckline part of this pattern. Like, you're going to go ahead to trace out your pattern. But if what you cut is not so comfortable, like to spread it open, go ahead to open up your pattern all the way down. Open it more. Now you can comfortably spread your pattern, use your pin to hold it on the fabric, and trace out the neckline, the armhole, and whatever your cutting should be on fold. So now for this dress, I did not get to see the back, but looking at it, you can also use the same pattern you used for the front for the back. Now what you do is your zipper will now be at the side of the dress. You can now add your zipper, use your sewing allowance to add the zipper at the back of, to add your zipper by the side of your dress, right? So the pattern you're using for the front and the back is the same. So I didn't get to see the back, but because of the bow tie at the side, you can go ahead to use a zipper by the side. So for the lower part of this dress, it has a flare effect at the lower part. So let's say you're cutting your pattern on fold. We are using the 180-degree method to flare method to cut this. So after folding your pattern, you have to get your waist measurement. My waist is 28. So dividing it into two, I have 14 inches for the front and 14 inches for the back. So that 14 inches, you're going to fold it into two and then add your sewing allowance to it. After that, you're going to place it on your pattern this way and draw out a straight line. Now, if you don't want to use a straight line, you can place your tape in form of a semicircle and draw out a rough curve. So I'll also be showing you that in at the end of the video. So here you're going to place your tape and mark your hip point, which is 7 inches after your waistline. So after you're done marking that, just rule out a straight line at this point. So after marking that, just the same way we marked our front pattern separately, you're going to do that for the hip. So my hip is 40 inches. If I divide it by 2, I have 20. So what I'll do now is that 20, I'll divide it by 2, which will give me 10, and I'll add my sewing allowance to it. After that, connect from the waist to that hip point. Now what you do is now get your full skirt length from the top of your pattern to the lower part this way, and I'll go ahead to use my pencil to mark that point. So you're going to go ahead to take that measurement all the way around, and after marking it, you're going to bring down your pattern this way, and you're going to go ahead to connect all those dots, and the next step you do is to cut it out. So this is the first method. So after cutting this, you also use this pattern to cut out for the back. That way you'll be having two pieces of this. Remember, your zipper is by the side. If you open it up, this is what you have. So by the time you attach it on your waistline, you have the flare effect, and it will be slightly fitted on your hip because you use your hip measurement to cut out the hip area. So just like I said, if you don't want to use this flare method, I'll show you another method. In this method, you'll be cutting out the dress like a flare dress. Get your waistline and then measure like 7 inches to your hip point. After that, you're going to go ahead to mark your hip circumference divided by 4, add your sewing allowance, and from your waist you're going to connect it to your hip and extend it all the way down. So this will give you like a flare effect at the lower part, but might not really give you that fullness that you desire.